Hello and God bless you. This is Bishop Canyon. I want to talk to you today from a question, and the question is, what is prayer? Prayer is basically an expression of my need to depend on God. It's my appeal to God for help. But now let me give you an example. When my daughter was about 4, she illustrated prayer by something she did on Father-Daughter Day. On Father-Daughter Day, we would spend the day together, and on this particular day, I took her to the mall. Now, when we arrived and began to walk across the street to get to the store, she held my hand tightly. There were cars going back and forth. Now, the pressure she applied articulated a message that her limited vocabulary could not. Her tiny fingers holding my hand was a prayer. And that prayer said, "Daddy, I need you." Look at Isaiah 41:13. It reads, "For I, the Lord thy God, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, Fear not, for I will help thee." Now listen, how tightly you hold God's hand reveals how deeply you realize you need him. If your grip on God is loose, it's because you don't realize that you need him as deeply as you do. And I want to encourage you, regain your grip and don't walk ahead of God. Now, the closer my daughter walked to me, the better she felt. Her courage was connected to my presence. Her safety was connected to my presence. When I slowed, she slowed. When I stopped, she stopped. But how often have you kept moving forward, even though divine stop signs flashed in your spirit like neon lights against the backdrop of a blanket of darkness? How often have you said yes, even though God said no? Now, as we approached the sidewalk, I could feel her tiny fingers begin to loosen their grip. And once we reached the sidewalk clear of any foreseeable danger, the little fingers that once held my hand so tightly released my hand altogether. Wow. Once again, she was speaking, but the message now was different. Holding my hand tightly expressed the depth of her need. Holding my hand loosely expressed the presence of a need that was not as deep. But when she released my hand altogether, it expressed the absence of a need. She was saying, "Daddy, I don't need you." It was the external expression of an internal conclusion. The conclusion was that she could handle it from here. Sometimes either the longevity or the intensity of your struggle or the ease and comfort of life can influence you to loosen your grip on God. Two completely different reasons that may yield the same results: distance between you and God. Now, once we stopped, or rather stepped on the sidewalk, she became a victim of her desire for independence. I could feel her pulling away, and with every pull, she was saying essentially, "Let me go." How many times have our actions said the same thing to God when there was something we wanted to do? How many times have our actions said to God, "Let me go"? And it's though you want to will your choice to be the right one. I went from leader to follower because her opinion of her neediness had changed. And when she was confident that she needed me no longer, she took upon herself a role for which she was not qualified, the role of leader. This ever so slight change in geography gave her a feeling of security, confidence, and control. And once we stepped onto the sidewalk, she felt confident. But she failed to realize that she was just as needy walking on the sidewalk as she was crossing the parking lot. And then suddenly a young lady exited the store pushing a buggy, and momentarily the buggy was coming directly toward her, and she felt threatened. And in an instant, she hurried to my side, gripped my hand, and regained the posture she had maintained prior to being convinced that she didn't need Daddy anymore. God will send a buggy in your direction to get you to regain your posture and get back to him. Some of you are having buggies pushed your way right now. That's just God saying, "Come back to me." Let's look at King Uzziah. The Bible said that he began his reign as a praying man, and God blessed him. It says that God marvelously helped him. But then it says when he became strong, his heart was lifted up to his destruction. Do you see the change in the man here? When God blessed him, he became filled with pride. In other words, he allowed the blessings from God to turn his heart away from God. Can you handle what God wants to do in your life? Now, it's normal for us to feel a sense of joy when God accomplishes a certain thing through us, but we must always remember this. It is God which worketh in you, both to will and to do, according to his good pleasure. That's Philippians 2:13. It's all God. God has blessed you. It's all God. God has helped you. It's all God. God has guided you. It's all God. God has healed and delivered you. It's all God. Because of Isaiah's pride, he was struck with leprosy for the rest of his life. He didn't realize that he was just as needy in his strength as he was in his weakness. There are a lot of things that you will outgrow in your life, but you will never, ever outgrow your need to depend on God. It's extremely humbling when you consider that the greatest hindrance to manifestations of God's ability in your life may not be Satan or the world, but it may be our own unwillingness to consciously and consistently acknowledge our dependence on God. Brothers and sisters, you need him today, all day, every day, for a lifetime. So pray, because prayer is an expression of your need to depend on your God. God bless you. Again, this is Bishop Kenyon, and I want to invite you to come worship with us this Sunday morning at the Assembly of Truth. We're located 350 Hills Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, 30313. And if you need a ride, just give us a call, 404-228-6969. Once again, that's 404-228-6969. And remember, as you walk it out, you'll see God work it out. The Lord bless you.